Today, part of what I wanted to talk about is messaging. Messaging is so important. Media messaging is so important these days as well. It really has to have traction. It has to have resonance at all times. Because basically, if you can get the right traction, the right messaging, then you can literally go across the world. So I thought I would start off by just talking about one of the times when the royal family asked me, there's a drop, anyway, royal family asked me to try and save a situation. Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. And this happened when Prince George was being born. And it was the first photographs of Prince George that went out across the world. And the photographs, instead of being taken by a professional photographer, were taken by Kate's father on his iPhone. And I was asked by NBC, which is the largest channel in America, to actually give a commentary on these photographs. And these photographs suddenly turned up on screen, and they were dreadful. They were out of focus, the lighting was bad, the dog, Lupo, at that time looked like it was just about to be sick, and these are supposed to be the official photographs for entirely around the world. And at the time, Ziggy, who was the head of NBC Europe, and I won't sort of say the exact word she called me, but she said, "Okay, Mr. Smart, so-and-so, what are you going to say about this then?" And so I dodged around the question for a little while, and then as I'm coming out of NBC, the BBC are ringing me, and so for the next 7 hours I'm working with the BBC with all the channels across the world. And all that time, basically, I was getting another call from a friend of mine who is the royal commercial consultant to the Queen. And he was pleading with me, for goodness sake, find anything to do with these photographs because the whole world is in meltdown over these photographs. They're terrible. We know they're terrible. The Queen is very upset, and can you actually sort of change anything at all? So as I was going through from one BBC channel to the next, they were just saying, you can't say these photographs are good. They're terrible. How on earth do the royal family allow this type of thing to happen? And so I then get 2 hours sleep, and then the following morning I'm picked up again to go to Good Morning Britain and arrive at Good Morning Britain, and the same thing was happening again. For goodness sake, do not say anything good about these photographs. And they actually went through all the different things that they thought were bad. We then go on air, and now they're telling me on air how bad these things are. But in the meantime, I'm still resonating with all the messages that I'd got from the different sections of media, from the royal family perspective as well, saying, for God's sake, find anything at all. And so this is where messaging can then really sort of change and challenge a perception. So I then looked at the photographs, and I thought there's only one thing good about these photographs. So then, I was introduced to Pelham Turner. I actually photographed Prince William's first Christmas baby shoot. I was a commissioned royal photographer as well. And they said, you can't say these photographs are good. This is on air now. You can't say these photographs are good. They're out of focus. They're backlit. They're muzzy. They look terrible. And I said, in total contradiction, I said, I understand there are technical issues with these photographs. But then I said, only a father could take the look of love in Kate's eyes. Even the camera crew went, ah. And I thought, I've done it. I've changed the perception of these photographs. Within 20 minutes, that message had trended right across the world. Every major TV network in the world was using only a father could take the look of love in Kate's eyes. And so it's very important to get messaging right in the first place. And when you sort of do so, the reality is that people like myself, we have what we call a fast brain. I'm not clever. I always tell people, don't think I'm clever, because I'm not in any way, shape or form. No, I'm not clever. But I have what's called a fast brain. So what a fast brain is for a broadcaster means that as I'm being questioned on a question, the information is going into my head, but the respondents is coming out of my mouth at the same time. So I have this indelible link that actually sort of changes, and perceptions as well. And I think it's very, very important these days when you're looking at media and media messaging. It's the type of thing that what I say nowadays is that what messaging is really all about is listening to the listener, not putting out the verbal, I was going to call it garbage from sort of some political parties at the moment, thinking they can get away with murder because they can't. People are seeing through it. And at the moment, we're watching Keir Starmer's ratings go through the floor right now because people don't believe him. And so perception of messaging has to be believable, has to be trustworthy at the same time. And so basically what I look at is what are the futures? And what's the future for UPF? Now, to give you a guideline, very similar to UPF is the Sky channel I work for called Sky 585. It's called Love World. It's a Christian channel. And basically, that they now put out a program that I work on called Talking Politics, and that goes out each Monday to a global audience of 1 billion. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. UPF have the same type of audience in the first place, and I think we could actually hopefully increase the messaging and the values of UPF at the same time. When you look at channels like this, basically what is the future of television as well? So the future of television is happening so quickly that even I'm 73 now, and I always consider myself a dinosaur in this industry. So I always tell people, the technologists, you do whatever you want to do behind the camera. All I can do is stand in front of the camera and talk. But the technology now is incredible. So the technology now, for example, I work with 3 TV channels in America. So I work with NBC, which is the largest TV channel. I work with Fox Media. We've done 85 stories for Fox Media this year, so it's been a massive undertaking from that. And I also work with a company called USA Global TV as well, which is really it's a streaming channel that goes right across America. But a couple of years ago, we then looked at, and I don't know whether anybody knows what fast channels are, but fast channels are one of the futures, or they're one of the current futures, I should say, of television. So fast channels are things like Samsung TV, Apple TV, and the like, because that's what people are watching now. People aren't watching sort of the boxes in their lounges anymore. They're watching it on things like their phones. And so, again, what we do nowadays is that our royal show, which goes out each week called the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show, goes out to this audience, not only right across America and on fast channels as well, but in Britain, it's done by ALB UK TV, which is a Central and East European channel. And it goes out on 6 satellites across their channels as well. So so messaging is very, very important, always to get it correct and liked for the future. And how do you do that? Basically, I think with UPF is one sort of talking point. I think the reality at the moment is that, they are very good at what they're doing right now. But as I know, you can always do better. And what is my ambition for UPF in 2025? That's to actually capitalize on experiences with people like myself and actually get the 1 billion audience. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Is that every single time, a program is shot in any way, you could get a 1 billion audience or even more. Now, let me just tell you something else about how TV works these days as well. So Sky 585, as I say, it's a Christian channel. Every 6 weeks, they do a healing weekend. This is when the bishop who runs the channel does blessings, he does healings, he does all sorts of issues. Now, on that weekend, they get a 7 billion audience. 7 billion. It's massive. It goes out on 7,000 languages simultaneously, and they have 60,000 operators right across the world translating those messages as it is spoken. And so, the value of the power of television, the power of messaging is so important these days in people's lives. And I think, where we are at the moment, a lot of this can be sort of really created. It is not such a hard thing to actually do. And now I look to the future. So to me, basically good media is all about forward planning. Looking ahead all the time, what's going to be the issues? What is going to be the things that people want to talk about? And how can organizations like UPF actually listen to that and work with it? So I think part of the situation is what we do right now with our other channels is we get regular feedback right across the world from people who are watching the shows in order to actually ascertain from them, what do they want? It's all very well putting out information that an organization wants, but will it be listened to? I want people to listen to everything that I say, because it comes from the heart as well. And I think the reality is that basically now putting out regular feedback opportunities so that people who are part of UPF, for example, can actually listen and react to what's happening, I think is a very, very important thing. And peace to me is very important as well, because last year I was involved, I was in Beirut, and I was asked really to come in and help to set up Peace TV in Lebanon. And as you can imagine, at that time, this was before any Israeli interventions were happening. Basically, I not only met all the sort of the major representatives, the government and so forth, I was taken to meet Hezbollah because it was very important that everybody should be involved in something like this. I was taken to the US Embassy in Beirut as well to actually talk to the ambassador to see how they could sort of contribute at the same time. The reality was everybody wanted to contribute because they all wanted peace. They all wanted peace. And I think the reality, with peace now is that the shame of it all, and the thing that really gets to me, even now, I was taken to meet Hezbollah, and basically I get a military group that surround me that are Hezbollah military as well, and I'm taken to a particular enclave. And in that one small enclave, there were 20,000 people living in that one enclave. And my fear is that if someone dropped a bomb on them, 20,000 would be dead because they live so close together. And we were taken to this house, and there was this group of 20 people. And there was this table, and it was groaning with food, absolutely groaning with food. And then it transpired that they hadn't eaten for 3 days, so that they could put food on the table. Now that got to me. And then basically I met this 15-year-old girl, and she was learning English. So she was trying out her English at me, and I was saying to her, what do you want to do with your life? And she looked at me, and she looked straight to me, and she said, I want to become a pilot. And I was thinking, I just hope you stay alive. I just hope you stay alive to be able to do that. And that face haunts me because I look at what's going on in Lebanon right now, and I want to go back. I hope we will be allowed to go back. At the moment, we're banned, from doing anything like it. But I think it's so important that people like myself can use our skill bases to actually contribute to the future of any country. And when I look at, what's going on at the moment across the world, I just feel we have to make change. Not we should make change, we have to make change. And so I just finish up by saying, I hope I might have sort of put some thoughts into people's heads this afternoon, because it is so important that messaging captures how you feel in your hearts right now. what have you got in your heads and how you can actually express that knowledge right across the world. Thank you.